This is Umar for BoxNation. We're on our way back from Manchester to London. I'm joined by Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren in the back of a BM. It's the first on-the-road interview we've done, actually.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
We were trying to get Netflix on, but it wasn't happening, Frank.
I know, we've got to pay our registration.
Wasn't a normal scenario today, I think, for Derek Chisora. I was with him yesterday and he was quite emotional about this. This is the last dance, the last fight in the UK for Derek. And you could actually hear that in his voice today, Frank. Is that the feeling you got from him, that he's really emotional about this last dance?
Yeah, I think, whether you're a boxer, whatever you're doing, certainly for any athlete, when you come into the end of your career, it is. And for him, as you just said, it's his last fight in the UK on the 8th of February at the Co-op Live Arena. He's been part of the furniture for the last 20 years, which is a long career as a professional boxer, 20 years. And for him, he'll miss it, and I know he'll miss it. And he wants to finish on 50. And for us, it's about him, he's got to win this fight against Otto Wallin, who will give him a few problems. I really do believe that. It won't be easy. With Derek, in those 20 years, all he's ever done is give everything. He's given his heart in the ring. He doesn't leave anything out. His desire, his nickname is War. And that's what he does when he gets in the ring. He goes to war. And he's going to have to go to war with Wallin. He's a younger man, got 2 losses on his record against Tyson, who he went the distance with, and AJ. And I thought that's the best AJ, by the way, that I'd seen for a few years in that fight. And he was retired on his stall. This is a big moment for Derek. And, as you just started off with, there's a lot of emotion there with him.
Yeah, I think there was. Right, let's just go through the fallout with Jarrell Miller fight not happening, because we thought Derek was going to go to war with him. Derek and Otto both have expressed kind of they feel sorry for Jarrell in the situation, because from what I was hearing, that fight was practically done, Frank. So what can you tell me about what happened with Miller?
Well, look, it's, the truth of the matter is, it's not done. It's not done, as I always say, till it's signed. And he has issues with his former manager, and they, we hear what they are. But as a result of that, the fight couldn't be made, which is a great shame. So we very quickly got this fight done. This is a different proposition for Derek, in as much that Wallin's a southpaw. He can fight, he can box, and as I say, I think it is, whereas I think with Miller and Derek, they're similar styles. But Derek fights one way. That's how he fights. He goes in there and he puts it on you, and he just tries to wear you down. So you're going to get a fight. You never see him in a boring fight. You'll get a fight. And it's a shame we couldn't get the Miller fight, but we've got the next best thing.
Yeah, Chisora-Wallin is a very good fight, very competitive. With the Miller one, though, as you said, you're disappointed, because I know from a selling point of view,
personalities, isn't it?
It really would have sold that
fight. You had a good press conference with him too, that's for sure.
What can you tell me, if anything, about exactly why the Miller fight couldn't happen contractually with Dimitri, etc.?
All I know is that his manager says he has a contractual position, and as a result of that, we couldn't, we're not going to breach. We can't be going into a contract, so otherwise we'll get sued.
That must be really annoying that on the 11th hour that was notified to you.
It is annoying, but it is what it is, and no good crying about it. You get on with it.
So, within 48 hours you sorted this fight with Wallin?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit longer, maybe about a week, but we got it done.
Okay. Tricky southpaw, as you said.
Well, he can fight. I mean, only got Tyson with that bad cut. Tyson had 37 stitches. He tried to get the fight stopped. So he's been in some good fights. This will be a good fight. I'm telling you, I bang on about styles and make fights, etc. But they do, and this will be a quality fight. And the undercard's a fabulous undercard.
Yeah, we'll come on to the undercard. It's a brilliant night of boxing that awaits us on February 8th. With Derek, though, you touched upon it. He was Mr. BoxNation, wasn't he, Derek Chisora? The journey that you guys went on. I know there was a bit of a break in the middle of it and he did fights elsewhere, but you and Derek, the ups and downs, it's been some story. 18 years you started working together ago, wasn't it? 2007.
He said it was 19, but whatever it is, it's a long time for when he came with me. I think he won the British title in about 9 or 10 fights, which is very quick.
Was that against Sam Sexton?
Yeah, very quick to be doing that. And he's fought everybody. How many world champions has he fought?
He's fought everyone.
Yeah, he's fought everyone. Give a good account of himself, I would say 98% of them. What you see with Derek is what you get. You're going to get a fight.
I mean, he gave Usyk a brilliant fight.
I mean, I thought he should have retired a couple of years ago, and I've said it on a couple of occasions back then. But that fight he had with Joyce, what a fight that was! That was one of the fights of the year. That was a cracking fight.
Yeah, you can't tell anyone to retire after that, after beating Joyce. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mentioned just there, the Usyk fight actually goes under the radar, how much he pushed him there.
He gave Usyk a lot of problems in that fight, a lot of problems. No doubt about that.
And you talked about some of the injustice he had, especially with Robert Helenius, that fight.
He won that fight. It was a bad decision. It was a very bad decision. He gave Klitschko a great fight. Probably Klitschko's fight. The Klitschko fight was, for me, Klitschko's toughest fight in the 8 or 9 years since he had fought Lennox Lewis. He gave him his toughest fight.
He was actually favourite going into the Fury first fight, wasn't he, Derek?
He was. He's coming off about 7. Quite a good run. The second fight he was coming off a good run, a very good run of wins, and most of the guys were ranked in the top 12, and gave a really good account of himself. And it weren't his night against Tyson. I mean, Tyson that night turned me into. That's when I said he'll win a world title. I really didn't think, having watched him that night, I didn't think he'd beat Klitschko. But that night, and I said it after the fight, he will beat Klitschko.
But even, we didn't even mention the night at Upton Park with David A. He's had so many big nights.
Again, he lost that fight, but it was a very competitive fight until he got clipped. And David could bang. That's the one thing he could do. David, he could bang.
Yeah. Well, he's a modern legend. Whatever you want to say about Derek Chisora, he's a modern legend of British sport. So the 49th fight does happen, the last dance.
It's his last fight in the UK, so I hope everybody comes out for him. I mean, if you're not coming out for him, just come out for the fight, because it will be a good fight. You will get entertained.
Talk to me about working with the Co-op Live, Frank.
Oh, it's a fabulous arena. I mean, you see it's just an unbelievable arena. There's not a bad seat in there. It's great views from every seat. It's 21st century arena. That's what it is. It's just it's the best venue in Europe, indoor venue in Europe. No doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The undercard, the one that really grabs me, is Willie Hutchinson v Zach Parker.
It's a great fight, isn't it? Great fight. And again, a great weight division. The winner comes through that, they get themselves back on track for a crack at a world title. It's a really, really good fight, no doubt about it. Between two really good fighters.
I feel like whoever loses that is in a very difficult spot, though, Frank.
Yeah, look, they will be. But it's how you lose as well, sometimes in fights. But for me, looking at what you're going to get on the night, that is going to be such a competitive fight.
Just get the mic a little bit closer to you, Frank. Sorry.
On the night, that's going to be such a competitive fight.
Yeah.
Very competitive fight.
Yeah. Was that an easy one to make? Because there's a lot of jeopardy for both guys.
Well, there is, but you know what? They're in a position where they're going to have to, somebody's going to have to. They both have to get in at this stage of their careers. You want to go on, you want a big fight, then you've got to go out and show you that you're worthy of it. They are both worthy of it. We're going to see who's the best out of both of them and who'll get yourself back on track again.
How is Willie Hutchinson after that loss to Boise?
He was very disappointed, and he was disappointed. But look, it was what it was. He gave everything he could. And again, that was a very good fight. It was close at times. It was a very, very good fight. And Josh Boatsy boxed extremely well. So here's a chance for him to redeem himself against Zach. And Zach is looking for big fights. He had a good win last time out. So this for him is, again, is an opportunity to get himself into a position where I think the winner of this will become a mandatory.
Masood Abdullah, important night and a big fight for him.
Yeah.
For Maz, who you've just extended your deal with as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good fighter, isn't he? Good fighter, and again, very important fight for him. Good fight.
Yeah, your nephews who manage him don't stop banging on about him.
I know, and I want it to happen for Maz, and I want it to happen for them for obvious reasons.
That night, which will be live on TNT Sports in the UK and Ireland, Feb 8th, and also for yourself and Queensberry, bringing big time boxing back to Manchester. Important to come here to Manchester.
Yeah, I look back to the years, all the fights and shows we put on there, how we developed Ricky Hatton, and basically at one time Manchester was the capital of British boxing. Some great shows on there, and I'm looking forward to doing that on a regular basis here at the venue. We're going to promote regularly there.
We know someone who's going to drive a lot of tickets, and that's Nathan Heaney. He's on the bill, who makes his return. Who obviously lost to Brad Pauls last time. But like Denzel, like others in this middleweight division, just because you have a loss doesn't mean it's all over. Nathan can still make a play in this middleweight division.
Well, look, Nathan's done brilliantly. He had that hiccup against Brad. We had the two fights with Brad, and it wasn't meant to be. But it's not the end of the world, and he'll be looking to re-establish himself. Brad's got Brad. It's like look what happened with boxing. Now Brad's in the final eliminator for a world title fight against Denzel next week at Wembley on the Magnificent Seven show. And that's what this is about, what we're doing, getting these guys into a position where the winner goes through and there's a massive carrot for them dangling there. It's hanging there. This is your win this and you're going to get a world title fight. And you've got an opportunity to win a world title and change your whole course of your career and your life.
Well, yeah, that is quickly approaching that Magnificent Seven card at Wembley Arena, Saturday, 7th of December. As you said, that middleweight fight between Brad and Denzel is so important now for the world scene as well.
It is.
And on paper, it's just a fantastic clash, that one.
It's a great fight, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be a good fight. There's no doubt about that. And that's a great card as well. Some great fights on the undercard there. But, they're hungry fighters. They're hungry fighters, all of them. Boxing's had, the last 12 months, 13 months now, it's had a renaissance in as much that obviously everything's coming off of what's happened in Riyadh, and those ripples have filtered out certainly into the UK, and we're all up in our game and putting these big fights up because there's massive opportunities to take your career into another direction, in as much that if you do really well, Riyadh has replaced Vegas. You're going off to Riyadh.
Well, actually, going back to just before Fury and Ngannou, where you said this is going to be a game changer in terms about Riyadh season and how it's going to affect boxing. I remember you got slaughtered for that, and then.
What do I know?
To be fair, even with you saying it's going to be a game changer, I'm sure you didn't imagine it'd be this much.
I knew things would change, but I didn't think they'd be as dramatic as it's been. But I knew it would be. It would be what it was. There was a vision. Having met with His Excellency and sat down with HE and listened to him and his vision and what we could all do working between ourselves. I knew it would be, and I knew they would replace Vegas. I knew that would happen, and that's been great for British boxing because most of the shows that have gone on there, the fights have gone on relatively, was it not around 11 o'clock, midnight, not much, a couple of might.
It's a good time zone for us.
Yeah, you haven't got to sit up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. It's been brilliant, and they've been brilliantly put together, and the cards have been magnificent. The undercards, the main events. There hasn't been a bad show. They've been magnificent shows.
When you did sit down initially with His Excellency and his team, etc., at that time, with the Fury and Ngannou fight, of course, I know Top Rank were involved on the US side of Fury, but, you know, it was with Queensberry, basically. It was Riyadh season in Queensberry and Gold Star, of course. Did he say at that time that he'd want all the promoters collaborating moving forward, specifically you and Matchroom? Because even at that point...
to be honest, it evolved. You know, Queensberry have a deal with Seller, and, you know, we basically, you know, do all the nuts and bolts behind the scenes for the shows and so forth. But, you know, the fights... between us, we all suggest fights and opponents and so forth.
So when did...
But HE's got... He knows what he wants. He loves his boxing. He knows what he wants. Oh, look what he's just done. He's just bought Ring Magazine.
Yeah, we'll speak about that.
That's what he's all about. He wants to resurrect that to be what it used to be, which was the Bible of boxing.
So when did the relationship with Matchroom come about? I'm guessing it was a Day of Reckoning, that December show.
Yeah. I think it was. I think that was the time, and that was a revelation for me. I mean, I've got to be honest. I've enjoyed every moment of it. I want to talk about the results of the fights, which obviously we've been happy with. But, you know, it's nice to sit down and see. You know, I suppose somebody who, you know, has been sort of digging me out, slagging me off, and I've been digging him out and slagging him off, and you're suddenly sitting down and you both find that you've got a lot in common, how you feel about the sport and what you want to do and how you want to go about it. So it's been good. And, you know, George, who's our CEO of Queensberry, and Eddie built up a good relationship. And as our team has, you know, with Frank Smith, he's a really, you know, very, very hard-working guy too, and you know, and I've got a lot of time for him.
Have you bumped into Barry since this all happened?
I've met him a couple of times. He's not really had a lot to do, I don't believe, not directly with us. What he does behind the scenes, I have no idea.
Where did you bump into him?
Once, I think, was in Turkey's hotel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was where that was. Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, I hadn't spoken to him. We were partners years ago.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. Just hello, how are you? And you know, that's it. Bit of fun. All good.
Fair enough. Okay. What is going on with Daniel Dubois, Frank? The latest.
The latest is we're going to have within the next, I hope, 48 hours, be making an announcement.
Next 48 hours, yeah?
I hope so. It's Thanksgiving, isn't it? Weekend, so we want to make sure. The idea is to get it out of the way and do it.
Right, okay. In terms of the heavyweight scene, look, the IBF put out obviously that eliminator with Bakole and Kabayel. I believe Kabayel said no. Zhang as well was the next one down. He's refused that as well. So, Frank, are we looking at a Kabayel-Zhang clash? Is that where we're going?
I don't know. You know, there's lots of permutations, but they're both eager to fight. We'll be making an announcement. Hopefully, it'll be part of the Riyadh season. If it is, then that will come from Riyadh when the announcement's made. But that'd be a great fight if it could be made. You know, I like that fight. See what happens. Is
Bakole as avoided as people say?
Not avoided. It's what you bring to the table. You know, what do you bring to the table? And you know, it is what it is. It's not. I've heard all these stuff about the sparring and Billy Nelson coming out of his bullshit. The fighter came down without Billy Nelson a couple of times. Speaking to Martin Bowers when he was there, and you know what I've heard about the sparring, and at the time I heard about it is what I believed. You know, all this nonsense that Bill comes out with, he broke his nose twice. He's never had a broken nose. We never pulled him out of five a broken nose. It's just bullshit. And if the fight happens, it happens. And I'll tell you what did he say? He wanted a 200 grand bet me. When that fight happens, I'm going to hold him to that. That's if it happens, by the way. And I don't mean if it happens. He gets his eliminator and Daniel's in where he's at, then fine, he's got that bet all day long with me.
Okay, 200 grand on that fight if it happens between Dubois and Bakole. Frank Warren v Billy Nelson. In terms of that mandatory, he's just boxed one in Joshua, the IBF.
Which was his mandatory,
Yeah. Obviously, we're looking for the Feb 22nd announcement. So then when do you anticipate the IBF will call that next one, Frank?
Well, they've got to get their eliminator on first, haven't they? So whenever that takes place, and there'll be a time after that. In the meantime, Daniel's not avoided. Daniel's fought. Look at his last 4 opponents. Then look at Bakole's, or look at anyone's for that matter. Look at his last 4 opponents. He fought Usyk. He fought Babe Miller. He fought Hrgovic, and he fought AJ. Not in any of those fights was he a favourite. In any of them, Usyk. You know, I'm not going to go into the big debate about that again. I'd like to make that fight now. Miller tough, tried to outgame him, and he done a job with him, stopped him. Look what he done with Hrgovic. Hrgovic was another Bakole. No one wanted to fight him. And all that nonsense about what he done to Daniel in the gym. What did Daniel do to him? And AJ, 2-time world champion, or what he was going to do to him. What did he do to AJ? No one else has done that to AJ. What he did. So, I'm not too concerned about who he fights. That's for sure.
With Daniel, I know, of course, he went away on holiday and he deserved that break in Brazil after that win against Joshua. Look, we know Daniel, when he gets on the camera, he's actually improving, but he hasn't done too much, Frank, since that amazing win in front of nearly 100,000 people. Would you have liked him to do a little bit more?
Yeah, I would, but he doesn't want to. And, and I'm not going to push him into doing it and doing what he doesn't need to do. Because if we start doing that, then he's not the person that he is now.
It's fake, yeah.
You're changing him. Just go and do your talking in the ring. Do what you do in the ring. Because what he does in the ring, he's had a couple of losses, but whatever fight he's in, they're not boring fights. He's an exciting heavyweight fighter, and he's matured. He's become he's become a man. These last 13 months, 14 months now, he's just got better and better, and he's grown into it. So I'm really pleased with that. And I'm sure he'll start talking. I mean, you asked, before your time, certainly my time, with George Foreman, you couldn't get a word out of him. He just grunt. He didn't even say yes or no at press conferences. And then his second coming, God, you couldn't get him to shut up.
Well, look, Daniel's active enough that he can do the talking in the ring.
Yeah, and he is active. He's been a very active heavyweight and a powerful heavyweight. Everybody's fought in those last 4 fights. They've all gone on the floor.
Well, I guess Usyk would debate it wasn't legally.
Went on the floor.
Wasn't legally, he would say, but
according to the judge, the referee, not according to me, and I thought, anyway, I don't want to go into that crap.
We've done that about a million times with Lewis Pabon, the referee. We'll leave that one there. Do you actually take anything about this Jake Paul call out? Because MVP did post, we might actually entertain this one day with Daniel.
Maybe they do one day, who knows? But I've got to be being very, very serious about it. Daniel against Jake Paul, and I like Jay. I've told you many times, and Nikita, they're great fellas. That is not a sensible match for them to be to be making. That's for sure.
Would that even get sanctioned?
Well, it wouldn't get sanctioned, would it? I mean, it wouldn't get sanctioned.
Unless you're in Dallas.
No, it's not. It wouldn't get sanctioned for any title at this stage. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to lie about it. I mean, Jake would have more than his hands full with Daniel Dubois. That's for sure.
In terms of a marketing play, though, he's done phenomenal, hasn't he, Jake?
Jake's a great promoter. What he's done, he's monetised what him and his brother have built up over the years with YouTube. And they've been very astute and very clever. But he is training. He trains as a boxer, and I take my hat off to him and that. He fought Tommy. We made that fight. We were involved in that with him. We promoted that with him, and Tommy beat him. But Tommy at that time, he was they're both novices. They were both novices. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah. In terms of heavyweight division, anything we've missed? No, really. I mean, we're approaching Usyk-Fury 2, which is the biggest fight in boxing, really, isn't it, Frank?
Yeah, it is.
3.5 weeks to go. Have you spoke to Tyson? He's in Malta training away.
He's training in Malta. I spoke to him a little while ago. I spoke to the training camp, and he's in very good spirits. Funny, we spoke to Brendan on the way out. He's a security guy.
Yeah.
Said he's in fabulous spirits, and he knows what he's got to do. He knows better than you, me, or anybody what he has to do. He's not a fool. He's one of the most astute people in boxing as to styles and what needs to be done, and he can adjust. And I believe he will show that on the 21st in Riyadh.
So we can still see vintage Tyson Fury, you believe, yeah?
Well, I hope so. I believe it will. I mean, look, there's been some tough fights, as has Usyk, and see what it's taken out of him. You know, remember Usyk's got to go through this game. And I see him after that fight. That fight took everything out of him. Everything out of him. And Tyson overcome the moment in the fight when he got in trouble, but overcome it like he always does. I don't want to see him in that position again, and that happened. And Usyk overcome a sticky moment as well when he wobbled back to the corner at the end of the 7th round.
Okay, I think that's all heavyweight talk done. One of your stars, Hamzah Sheeraz, was in the box with you at Emirates last weekend. Firstly, how is he? And again, like with the Daniel Dubois question, are we like 48 hours away from news on him as well?
Yeah, got a few of our guys we're going to be talking about. He's in a very, very good place. He's ranked number 1 by a couple of the organisations, and it will be announcing his fight soon, I hope. And he's done extremely well. He's done extremely well. Again, he's worked hard. His team worked hard, bringing him through. He's had a change of management, but it is what it is, and he continues to move forward.
Frank, with look, we know you're lining up for a world title shot. There was another one on the table with Janibek. He's received some criticism saying, "Oh, you've pulled out the fight with Janibek. You're avoiding Janibek, etc." How would you respond to that as his promoter?
Well, let's see what happens when we announce his fight. You know, our job is to make the right fight for him, and it's not just about the fight. It's about all the other. It's about the cost of it and so forth, and this fight's brilliant. As regarding Janibek, he's mandatory. He's going to have to wind up fighting the winner of the fight next week at Wembley between Brad Paul and Denzel Bentley, which is the number 1 and 2 for the eliminator for the title.
I'd say your strongest division is the heavyweight division, but apart from that, your middleweight division is looking healthy now, isn't it?
We got down in the lowweights. I mean, we've got a lot of good fighters in different divisions. But that I'm not going to argue with that. But we do have it in other divisions. I mean, we've had a great year. You look at what's happened with Nick Ball. I mean, what a fighter is. Another busy fighter. 3 real tough fights in 7 months against world champions and top fighters, and Harry's come through. We're blessed, and we've got a stack of great talent coming through, and guys are on the cusp of fighting for world titles. Some really, really good quality fighters, and look at some of the guys who are going to be fighting on the undercard of Tyson in Riyadh on the 21st. I mean, we're blessed.
McCann-McGrail is the one that...
What a cracker that is. That's a tough fight for both of them. And, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
Matchroom have had a couple of wins over you recently, so you need to start winning them back, Frank. Dennis and Peter.
I mean, we're in front. We're still in front. So
yeah, it's quite a clear lead at the moment, to be fair.
Look, it is what it is, and I want to get another one of those 5v5s on.
When are we looking at?
Next year. I'd like to get it on in the first half.
Well, I hope so. I'm not going to make us wait till 2026, are you?
No, definitely.
No, but I know initially, like a while back for February, that was kind of the planned thing. That's shifted. So maybe a summertime 5v5s.
Yeah, well, look, after April, we're both on the same TV platform, so it's going to make a lot of sense, isn't it? Format, and it'll work. You know, the Magnificent Seven's a great format and it works. 5v5 is real rivalry in every department. You know, the promoters, the fighters, their managers, trainers. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant concept and it'll work.
Yeah, I'm sure you think it is a brilliant concept. if you're winning 10-0. Frank, in terms of Anto Cacace, one of your other stars, world champion, of course, I haven't heard much of him recently. We know the mandatory with Sugar Nunes, one of Matchroom's guys, was ordered, but I'm hearing things about maybe trying to do a fight with Lee Wood. He would really like that. It's a big domestic clash, that. So where are we at with Anto Cacace?
Anto, we're working on what we're going to do with him, and he'll obviously be fighting in the new year, and we'll be looking to make a really good and appealing fight that everybody wants to see. And as I say, we're working on something, and I'm sure everybody will be pleased with it.
What do you think about the Lee Wood fight, if that does come to fruition?
I like that fight. I think it's a good fight. I think it'd be a cracker of a fight, a competitive fight, a big domestic bust-up.
And at his stage of his career, you know, he's 36, Anto. He's had like an Indian summer.
He's had an Indian summer. I mean, he's a guy who suddenly, we all felt and knew what he could do, but it was about living the life, and he's living the life now, and it's paid off for him in a big way. He's a lovely fella, got a lot of time for him, and you know, he's done everything that's been asked of him, and he's done it in style, by the way. He went into that fight with Cordina as a big underdog.
But he said to me when I spoke to him recently that, look, this mandatory's there, and I'm not ducking Nunes, and I don't want to give up my world title. But as I said, he's 36. There's a big money fight there with Lee Wood that will capture the UK's imagination.
He's got to do what's right for Anto. What he feels is right for him. As you say, he's 36. He'll do what he'll do, and we will do what's right for him. That's how it'll be.
Sam Noakes is in action on that Mag 7 card, Frank, against Mr. Walsh, and that's a brilliant fight. There was that false leaked announcement that came out with him fighting the world title against Barancic.
I don't know where that come from.
But
keep getting all these leaks, you know.
There are a lot of leaks in boxing at the moment, Frank.
Yeah, there are. I don't know, there's a lot of leaky people about.
That's one way of saying it, I suppose. But if he, it's a big if, but if he does come through Walsh next weekend, he's close to a world title, yes or no?
He is, no doubt about that. Again, he deserves it. It's a tough fight. Walsh come off a good win. You know, he fighting for me is a bit like Derek. How many years ago was it? He was fighting for me. He just had an extremely good win.
Well, him and Liam were on BoxNation like 7 or 8 years ago, wasn't it?
And he's coming off a very, very good win, and it's a good fight. It's an extremely good fight. Sam's going to have to be at his best, but Sam's had a brilliant year as well. He's shown what he's all about. He showed this year also what he can, you know, his boxing skills in that fight against Mendy. He boxed tremendously well in that fight. Yeah. He showed he wasn't a one-trick pony.
With the likes of Dennis McCann, Hamzah, Sheeraz, Sam Noakes, even Daniel Dubois, these guys, and there's plenty of others, who were all coming up near enough the same time, and you've invested in them a lot, you've believed them in a lot. How much pleasure and satisfaction does it give you seeing them all?
Oh, I love it. I mean, that's what we put our faith in. It's what we invest in. No, it's not just money investment. It's time, and it's your passion, and you know, your desire, and moving the guys that you hope to work in the right direction, work with their managers and their trainers. You know, all as a team, and trying to get the best for them. And you know, at the moment, a lot that I'll touch wood. I don't want to tempt fate. It's been working. All the things we set out to do have been happening. You know, of course, there's going to be some bumps in the road. That's boxing, but you know, they're all in good positions, and it's up to them. All I can do is get them. All Queensberry can do is get them to a certain position, and then once they're there, it's up to them in the ring to go and do the business. And we'll provide them that opportunity.
I'm not sure to the answer to this, but is this the happiest you've been with Queensberry in a long while, the state you're in now?
Yeah, believe it or not, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it. I've been doing it with a board and outside the ball for 47 years. It'll be 48 years next year. So I love it. I enjoy it, and as long as I enjoy it, I'll keep doing it. And I love these journeys. We signed a couple of young fighters up this week. A couple of young guys, 18-year-old, and I'm really looking forward. I met him, a nice kid, and I'm looking for. And I won't be disrespectful when call him a kid, but to me he's a kid, and I'm looking forward to, being part of that journey with him and giving, my bit of knowledge that I've got, helping him achieve what he wants to do, achieve his dreams, make his dreams come true.
Can't believe we've done 35 minutes and not mentioned Moses Itauma.
There you go. There you go. He's had a brilliant year as well, hasn't he? He's shown what it's all about. He's got a tough fight next time against a guy who really fancies the job. He's had some good wins. Each fight he steps up, he shows a lot of intelligence in the ring. We know he's got power, but he's also got a good boxing brain, and he showed that in his last fight. The way he went about his business. He's got a superb jab, and he uses it to good effect.
You've got that many heavyweights, I keep forgetting. Fabio Wardley, planning a big homecoming for him, aren't you?
Yeah. In the summer, we're going to do. We're hopefully going to do a job do a show at Ipswich, but I want him out before then, so he'll be out in the first quarter, maybe the second quarter next year, and he'll be a big fight. And what a unbelievable knockout that was.
Unbelievable it was, yeah.
Knockouts of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, and I'm delighted. And he's a really nice bloke. He's got very, very intelligent, speaks well. It's a good advert for our game. And when you look at, his lack of amateur boxing, it's amazing what he's done. It's absolutely amazing. It says a lot about him.
Certainly does. Joe Joyce, what's going on with him?
Well, Joe's coming back. He's fighting. He was supposed to be on the show at Wembley, but that's not happening. He'll be fighting early next year. Have him out early next year. He wants to fight, and if he wants to fight, we're with him, and I like Joe. Joe's a really nice bloke. He's one of the good guys, and we're with him, and whatever it takes to help him, keep moving forward, we'll do it.
Okay. I think that's all the heavyweights. There's so many.
No, it's not. You got a good fight on at Wembley. You got
Dacres-Adeleye.
That's a cracking fight. Him and Sol Dacres. It's a great fight.
Absolutely is. That's next weekend, Mag 7 at Wembley Arena.
Zhang, the old Big Bang. We're blessed with heavyweights. We've got a real good group of heavyweights.
Yeah. Frank, is there anything else you want to add before we close off?
I don't think it's. I'm sure we'll do after December. We'll sit down and do a roundup of the year.
Definitely. There's so much to go through.
Well, there is, and there's so many good fights. We've still got some. That show next week, I'm really looking forward to at Wembley. There's some great fights on there, some quality fights, and I think it's really going to be exciting. Then we're off to Riyadh for the big return. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it'll be some event that. But yeah, like we're very lucky at the moment. Every week we're getting something, aren't we?
We're getting quality, and we're getting they're competitive fights, and sometimes it's not the end of the world for the losers. They regroup, come back and show the world what they're all about, what their desire and heart is. It's nice to have a perfect record, but it's not about a perfect record. It's about going out and showing the public what you're all about. And as long as you do your best, like Derek's done over the years, the public buy into that, and they get behind you, and I hope they do. For Derek and the Wallin fight on the 8th, it's going to be 8th of February next year. It's going to be a great fight in a fabulous arena.
Well, hopefully that kills some time in the car. Got probably an hour and a half left back to London.
That's good, yeah.
And will TalkSport ring in the journey, you reckon?
No, I've got my phone on silent.
Frank, appreciate your time. Tickets on sale for that Feb 8th card in Manchester at the Carp Live, Chisora v Wallin.
Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster.co.uk, that's the one.
Top man.
Thank you, Frank.
You've had a good year.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, you do. You've got a nomination as well, didn't you? So,
yes.
Well done.
Yeah, the British Boxing Awards.
Terrific.
They've got something, an event in March, a award ceremony with Ricky Hatton and Nicola Adams presenting it.
Nice. So lovely.
So we're shortlisted. We'll see what
Well,
happens.
it's good, but the fact you got shortlisted is in your first, was it first?
We started this, I tell you, the relaunch of BoxNation was Joshua in Garnet, which was March.
There you go. So within 9 months, you've got yourself there. Well done.
And the shows are good as well with your nephews.
I know they've done. It's good. That was a good show the other night at York Court. You got good viewing figures as well.
Yeah, the Albanian heavyweight.
Yeah. He looks a handful.
We might have to slip in one of your cards, Frank.
We'll see.
Thank you, Frank.